Hello again, my name is Kane Del Sol, and welcome to A Satanic Perspective. Today we're continuing the discussion on context and decontextualization. This is a very important discussion to have, I think. From where I stand, the majority of esoteric work seems to be obsessed with tradition and rigid structure. If people are not adamant about preserving strict regulation passed down from generations long past, they are fervently trying to create their own new tradition and structure. This approach is honestly a natural response to the paradox of the formed attempting to reach the unformed, that is, magic. The phenomenal world seeks to touch the noumenal, and thus we have the occultists. You see, we humans work on structure and pattern. Whether we admit it or not, everything we do has purpose, reason, and order. Even when we attempt to be random or unpredictable, our movements, thoughts, and words all follow predetermined courses. This starkly contrasts the very essence of the divine, as it cannot be contained by any structure or order within this world. And though the other may penetrate into this world and affect the motions of this universe, the divine experience exists outside of this reality. Words, forms, thoughts, descriptions, nothing can possibly come close to containing or exemplifying the true nature of the divine. So then, that leads us to the question, should we just abandon tradition? Didn't they all come from the mind of men, and not the divine? What's the point if we can't trust what has been written? Wouldn't it be better if we just take a leap into the unknown instead of trusting words that could have been corrupted due to propaganda for thousands of years? No. Hell no. That's stupid. I get that train of thought. I really do. But it's immature. Yes, writings can be and often are corrupted with time. Yes, history is written by the victors, who ended up often preserving the stories and demonizing the practices. But there's a couple of things here. First off, we wouldn't have the problem of history is written by the victors if our ancestors would have documented things a little more, but they were too caught up in secrecy, either due to classism, paranoia, or just simply not wanting to be murdered by their rulers. Second, traditions exist as an attempt to keep a pure line of thought through generations. Techniques that were found to work get passed down, and it becomes tradition because people don't change it to suit their whims. Now, yes, there are plenty of traditions, living, dead, and resurrected, where various members will write supplemental literature, document their meditations and communications. That's all well and good, so long as it doesn't supersede the source. The big problem comes when third parties try to bring their own interpretations, generally Frankenstein together with other convenient ideals, and try to say it's the new living truth. Those are the ones you have to watch out for, and that's also why I don't like to talk about living traditions. Ask me anything, yes, I will give you my perspective on it, but there are a great deal of systems that I simply am not horribly educated about. This is partly due to the fact that, like I have said before, the occult and esoteric practice is something you can spend your entire life studying and never fully master it. There are plenty of people who have devoted their entire lives to the workings of a single culture, and still will tell you they are only scratching the surface. I am humble enough to admit that I am woefully uneducated in the practices of, say, medieval and pre-Christian Europe, native South America, Africa, and Asian folk tradition. These forms of folk magic and esoteric work have lasted, in some cases, thousands of years in relative obscurity, thriving in the shadow of mainstream religions of the area. They deserve much greater attention for sure. Personally, I'll get to them. In the meantime, I like to surround myself with people that know more than I do on the subject, and it's worked out pretty well so far. This brings me to the final point. Humans are flawed, and this includes you. Hate to break it to you, but the mind is a very powerful thing, and when your entire work is an attempt at unlocking its full divine potential, it can play some serious tricks on you. A practitioner can fool themselves into believing they are speaking with a god when instead they are just talking to themselves. They may believe that their goddess appeared to them in a dream, when in fact it was just their brain processing their day in vivid hallucination. This is where we need to be discerning. There is a difference between the divine experience and a reflection. Learning to tell the difference is part of the work. One of the best tools for learning this distinction is tradition, the second, of course, being experience. Direct experience with the divine will show you a very stark contrast with your own hallucinations and active imagination. The true work of the occult is forged and succeeded in balance, In this work of two extreme opposites uniting, we must become the bridge, connecting the furthest points by exceeding their furthest reaches. This is, once again, the exemplification of death before dying, the unity of all by becoming nothing. So, that's my thoughts on the matter. Hope that was interesting. I'm sure that will spark a lot of questions, so leave them down below. Also, any comments or suggestions for future videos, let me know. If you like this video or any other videos on my channel, be sure to check out my book. It documents my personal philosophy and esoteric practice in much greater detail than you will ever see here. It's available now through Aeon Sophia Press, and I put a lot of hard work into it, so I hope you'll check it out. Possibly grab a copy. I'll put the link in the description below. Until next time, this has been A Satanic Perspective.